Hi, I'm Josh and this is the second video reflection for my documentary project for Rewilders. In this blog post I will be talking about my filming experiences back home on the Isle of Wight. So I recently filmed on the island. After filming in Cornwall I went back home to see how rewilding could impact where I live. It was really nice to be able to relate my investigative journey with where I live, my hometown, and seeing how rewilding could directly impact myself. So whilst back home I interviewed Jamie Marsh from the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Wildlife Trust. I met him alongside the Eastern River Yard and we went for a walk along there because that's a proposed site by the Trust for a rewilding project in a not so distant future. They're in the process of buying the land at the moment, and there's also potential to introduce beavers to that area as part of the rewilding process, as they are a keystone species and they could have a large benefit in that area. So it was interesting going from Cornwall, where I'd seen a beaver project in action, to the Isle of Wight, where it could potentially be happening and it could directly benefit, or I could see where I live and how it would impact where I live and whether it would benefit the ecosystems where I live. So it was interesting to talk to Jamie about the project, about what could happen. But it's also worth noting the Eastern Yard is quite a long river and it stretches along a big part of the eastern Isle of Wight. And along there, because beavers have a potential for flooding areas because they shape the landscape, and where the Isle of Wight does have a lot of people and spread into different areas, it could potentially cause flood rates and could hinder people, whether it damages roads or buildings, etc. So there's a lot of debate still to be had whether beavers will be appropriate on the Isle of Wight, where there is sort of big pockets of people, long stretch of river, and obviously flood risk and how that interacts, and whether the benefits they bring in the natural sense and the ecosystems they create outweighs the potential for flooding in certain areas. Whilst also on the island I interviewed Kingsley Hollis, who's a young farmer, not in the sort of traditional sense. He doesn't own a big farmhouse or big areas of land, but instead he grazes his sheep on smaller bits of land and he moves them about quite a lot. And he often chooses to graze them on bits of land that aren't suitable for crop growing, and there may be bits of land that aren't very nice, and people will be like, a lot of rewilders will say, oh, well, no one's using that land, it's not very nice, rewild that. But he says, actually, I have a purpose to this land, my sheep can quite happily graze there on all the shrubs and stuff. And it was also worth seeing that the agricultural community, lots of people think farming needs massive areas, and that's why there's a lot of pressure, especially to reduce meat consumption worldwide and the amount of space that farming needs. But he showed actually you don't necessarily need to automatically rewild an area just because no one's using it, and also farming doesn't necessarily need massive spaces. But he did however say that both can work together, and it was quite interesting how the Isle of Wight could be the perfect example where rewilding and farming community and just sort of conscious efforts to reduce the impact people have on the climate, how it can all work together in one area, as well as because there's urban areas on the island and suburban areas and farmland and natural areas all in one reasonably small place, and how that could reflect on the rest of the country as a whole and how all these different aspects could interact. So it's interesting seeing almost my whole documentary just in one place and where I live, which was amazing to be able to see how rewilding could impact me in the future, where I live, and also how where I live could reflect on the rest of the country. So that's my film experiences on the island. Hope you enjoy the documentary when it comes out.